If I said to you, you could get a running Golf 7 GTI at half the price, would you believe me? Well, there's a way, and we've just done it. The Golf 7 GTI is one of South Africa's most desired hot hatches.
First pay, Golf 7.
What would you do if you won R1 million?
Buy Golf 7.
It's fast. It looks good. It sounds amazing. And if it's done just right, it turns a lot of heads. The Golf 7 GTI isn't just a car, it's a whole experience. And we have just got our hands on another Golf 7 GTI. Well, what's left of it anyways. This Golf 7 GTI was listed as a crash-damaged non-runner at GoBid. And if I know any better, there's always Lux at GoBid. I think it's safe to say that I've got enough experience when it comes to Golf 7 GTIs. In less than a year ago, I rebuilt an engine on a Golf 7 GTI that I had purchased from an auction. And in the process, I saved myself a lot of money.
So we got a running Golf 7 GTI. What cheap like that?
But this is entirely a different challenge. This Golf 7 might be one of the cheapest Golf 7s out there. But you will soon find out that this repair might be very high.
This one is dead. Yo!
Giving away our Golf 7R, and this is how you can enter for only 100 Rand. Here's how you can stand a chance to win the cheapest Golf 7R in the country. Search www.helpingmzansi.org. Next, click giveaway. Click enter. The more tickets you buy, the more chances you get to stand a chance to win this Golf 7R. Proceed to checkout. Fill in the information and continue. Please ensure to use your correct email address. Select place order and pay. You can choose between Google Pay, Apple Pay, or select EFT. Once your payment has been processed, your ticket will be sent via email you provided.
Alright, so today we are going to collect a non-runner Golf 7 GTI that is also accident damaged. Two problems: not running, accident damaged. So that's what we're going to do today, collect that Golf 7. And don't be surprised, guys, at some points of the video I will be speaking in Zulu. That's because this build, we are recording it for a broadcaster as well, so I'm not going to be specifying which broadcaster it is. You'll just have to stay tuned on this build to see where it will be airing on national television. Let's go.
Double trouble. This one's definitely double trouble, but we're gonna see as soon as we get to the auction house, which is GoBid. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what this GTI has got in store for me. I've been dealing with some very hard cars to fix, and for now I think I'm just going to be catching a break fixing a GTI, a MK7 to be precise. So yeah, let's go and see what this Golf 7 GTI has got in store for us. We are currently heading to GoBid Sandton, where we got our Nissan GTR. Once we arrived, we needed to figure out how we were going to get the Golf 7 GTI towed back to the workshop.
So guys, we have just arrived at GoBid to come and check out our Inkinga car, and one tow truck driver looks very familiar here, and that's the same guy that's going to be towing our car. So I think let's go meet him. Mangos, where's your truck?
My truck.
All right, so this gentleman is going to be towing our car for us today. His name is Mankosi. So as soon as we finish with the pass out, just we'll ask you to bring the card.
No problem.
Sharp. Let's go. Without this bad boy, they won't give you your car. It's still theirs.
Got to reception and we were welcomed by some friendly staff at the GoBid office.
Came to collect your car?
Okay, can you please come and complete the register here? This is visitor's register.
Will I win any free car if I fill this in?
Collection process was smooth and simple.
Please bring your ID or driver's license.
Okay. Don't laugh at my license. It's a paper one. So yeah, security is quite tight here. That's something you can be happy about as a person if you bought your car. So you can't just come here and say, I'm coming to collect a car without nothing, no paperwork. All that's left for us to do is to just get our keys and get our release note that we'll give to the security officer, and then we can be on our way.
Can you please give these to security there by the Wendy house? Then I will take up on it.
You see? It's like buying a new car when they hand you over the key.
The lady at the GoBird office helped us find our car. And that's when we had an opportunity to see more future projects at the GoBird yard. But for now, we're not here for any of these cars. We are here for our Golf 7 GTI. It honestly doesn't look that bad, but I should know, looks can sometimes be deceiving. I'm pretty sure that I can get this car back into showroom condition and save a lot of money in the process. After all, I did rebuild a Nissan GTR that was also crash damaged. This should be a walk in the park.
The Golf 7 is finally here. So our chassis arm will have to be straightened so that we can put our bumper reinforced properly on the car. Once that is done, the car will be able to do all of the front end stuff.
Okay.
So for now, what I would say, I don't see any damage. I don't see any major damage on the engine side. I think we've just got your cosmetic damage. So we'll just be needing your expensive parts like your headlights, bumper, all of those small stuff. But if you've been following our channel for long, you know that this is small fry. You understand? Small fry, this one. So this one will try and sort it out. Easy peasy pie. I think I'll give myself maybe a week or 2 weeks. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. How soon can we get this car ready? And if you've got any parts for this car or know where we can get headlights, everything, comment down below. Let us know. Danko.
Before we could get the GTI towed back to the workshop, the inspector at GoBird needed to take some photos as a standard procedure. And once that was done, we could get the car safely on to the tow truck.
Right, finally done here, GoBird. So going back to the shop, I think let's try and see if we can at least get the car started. They did list the car as a non-runner, so let's see when we get to the shop what's happening with this Golf 7 GTI. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it does start and we don't have an impact damage issue as well as a non-running issue. But it is listed as a non-runner, so I'm pretty sure that we'll have to work a little bit just to find the fault of why it's not starting and just get it back on the road. Let's go.
Well, the Golf 7 GTI made it safely to the workshop and I'm excited to get this project on the road. Now, to get the car off the tow truck, we needed to hook up the battery and disengage the car from park to neutral, and also release the electronic parking brake. However, once we did release the rear parking brake, we noticed that the left hand side rear passenger wheel was seized on. I think that's because the car was parked for a long time. But as I've said, I've been dealing with GTIs for the longest time, so I sprayed some Q20 to try and unseize the brake pads from the disc. We started sliding off the Golf 7 from the tow truck, and then after a couple of seconds the rear wheel ended up being free. With all of the wheels now spinning freely, we can now push this vehicle onto the ramp and have a closer look to see what we have gotten ourselves into. I wanted to see if there could be a chance that this car would start, because it was listed as a non-runner. And I think I'm qualified enough to say that sometimes with auctions you do come across a luck. So we hooked up the battery and tried our luck. It is standard practice at Mambo Repairs that we check all of the fluids before trying to start up a car. And this car's oil was definitely empty. And my spidey senses tell me that this could be because of an oil leak. We jacked up the vehicle and what we saw...
Yeah, this one is bad.
So try to spin the engine.
Huh?
Let's
Try and turn the engine, but I don't think it's gonna be able to turn. Alright. At least the engine turns, maybe it might start.
Yeah.
We tried and started without the oil.
No.
No, we'll just for a few seconds. Just to crank and see if it starts.
Kind of problem.
Because at least it turns.
Yeah.
We also noticed that it was very hard to get the vehicle's ignition switched on. And that, in my experience, is because of a sticky start-stop button. And I had a big suspicion that this was the main reason this vehicle was regarded as a non-runner.
So there is quite a lot of damage. Radiators all gone, condenser gone, the aircon compressor as well gone. So this one, it's going to need a couple of parts. The good thing is that the engine does turn. So what we're going to do now, we're going to try and swing the car and see if it catches and it starts. If it does start, that'll be something good, because that will mean that at least we've got a running car. So we've got a fresh new battery in the car, and then we're going to see if it starts.
My technician got into the vehicle to help me get this car started.
Press it hard and the brake. Switch it off. Switch it off. Switch it off. Switch it off.
Present.
Okay. At least the motiatum. That is a good thing. The car starts. That is splendid news. I didn't want to run it for too long because the car's got no oil. We've got a little bit of damage on the sump, so at least that's one tick done. So next we're gonna fix everything here and get this car back on the road. Let's go.
That was a close call. Because of the sticky button, my technician struggled to turn the car off, but we managed to see that the car starting without causing any further damage or harm to the engine.
So I've got a theory. On this car, I particularly think that it was regarded as a non-runner, mainly because of the sticky start button. So you have to like really press that start button before this car starts. So I'm thinking that they just hooked this car up on a booster, tried to start it, and it didn't start. But as I said somewhere in the beginning of the video, that I like smashed vehicles as well, because when they get smashed, they are getting smashed while they are driving, which means that they are still running unless your engine block or whatever gets damaged in the process. So on this one, we know for sure that it runs, but as it ran, we saw a very big puddle of oil, which means some of the oil galleries might have been disturbed. So let's strip it down. Let's see what we have to get for this car to get it back on the road and in a roadworthy condition.
It's time to start stripping the front to see what we can reuse and what we need to buy. Thereafter, we can list all of the parts we need and do a parts estimate cost. Well, let's get it done. First, the bumper.
Alright, so with the bumper on its way out, yeah, I'm just looking at the car roughly, and I think maybe the repairs on this could be at about 60,000 Rand. So remember this car as well, we're building it for a friend, a very old client of mine that told me, said, Mambo, I got a Golf 7, he's from Durban, I bought from Gobert and Santon. Can you please check it out for me if you can, repair it for me? So I'll be giving you guys like a step-by-step breakdown of everything and the amount of this repair and how much I charged him. So in case you're also in the market for a Golf 7 GTI that is smashed, you will see and have a rough figure of how much it's going to cost you. Let's go.
I got the bumper off and then started working on the undercover.
Headlight out. So one thing I've been saying to my camera guy is that I think maybe I can be able to fix this myself because it's not so bent on the chassis arm. But let's remove everything and then judge. But I think I can like fix that myself. 4-pound hammer, knock it straight. It's gonna be alright. That way I think as well I can save my guy a lot of money as well.
You can see how different the car looks without the bumper. Next, we had to remove the cradle and the upper grille, which meant removing some bolts underneath the fender. The front bumper stiffener is giving me a little bit of a problem because the impact has damaged some of the bolts. This is one of the harsh realities of dealing with crash damaged cars. Some bolts and nuts will definitely be harder to remove. You just have to be patient and delicate and ensure you don't cause any further damage.
We need to break that off now because we can't reach the bolt under the crash. So this needs to be broken off. I think let's remove the radiators for now since they look like they may be willing to come out first. But everything here, Baba, is broken, especially everything that sits in the front, all kaput.
I managed to get the condenser and the radiator removed and then continued removing the stubborn crash bar. And after some persuasion, I managed to get it off.
That's the bumper stiffener, bumper reinforced, whatever you want to call it. That's finally out. So yeah, main reason why this took a little bit of a while to come out is because of the bolt that was behind the damage. So we'll be definitely needing a new one of those. That's definitely beyond repairs. Now this is the damage that I was talking about. Now looking at this, I think I can repair this myself rather than taking it to the panel beater. I'm certain I can fix this myself because there's no structural damage on the chassis arm itself like the Nissan GTR. It's only on this plate, and I think all I have to do is to just like gently tap it until it's like fully straight on this side and on this side. Now when we look on this side, it's only bent like down there. So yeah, I don't think we need a panel beater that much for this car. We might just need a panel beater only for the roof. Alright.
Once everything was out of the way, we were able to now work on the aircon compressor. We decided to remove the aircon compressor because we noticed it had some accident damage.
Alright, there goes the aircon compressor. Alright, that pipe is fine. That smaller one we'll have to replace. So okay, let's remove everything else, then I'll show you where this car might be leaking from. So I think this car might be leaking from here. This oil pressure control valve, I think, is our culprit. For one, there is no bolt holding it on, so I think when the car runs, this is where all of the oil is coming out from. So we'll just tighten this up once everything is stripped out, and then try and start the car and see if we can identify any other oil leaks. But for now, what we're gonna do is finish stripping.
We still need to figure out where the oil is leaking from.
So everything is stripped on the Golf 7 GTI, but I want to try and start up the car. Even though I did show you guys where I suspected it was leaking, I just want to make sure and just double check if we don't have any cracks on the block. So we're gonna just top up some oil on the car. Once we've topped it up, we're gonna start up the car, and once we start it up, we'll hopefully see where it's leaking from, and then we'll just sort that out and just get it over and done with. And then we're gonna move over to saying all of the parts that we need. which are gonna cost an arm and a leg, I'm sure of that. So let's check this thing out. Let's start it up and see where it's leaking from. First things first, we need to get a new battery. But last time when we started this car, we had a problem switching it off again. That's because our start-stop button to start the engine and stop the engine is faulty. So we're gonna have to think of a creative way for us to switch off the engine once it's running uncontrollably again. So yeah, let's get that done.
We got some old oil from the workshop and poured it in to try and get a clue of where the oil could be leaking from.
So we're putting in some fresh second-hand oil since we're still gonna service the car after the repairs. So this oil, hey, stop, man. That's exactly why we didn't put new oil, because it was just gonna go down. It's like 150 rand a liter, so that's why putting second-hand oil, just so that we can see properly. So the one place that we closed, it looks like we've got another hole. I don't know where this thing is leaking from.
After seeing so much of oil on the floor, we decided to jack up the car to get a better look. And what we saw was definitely disturbing.
So the only thing I would say I'm happy about at the moment is that at least it's not leaking from the front, it's leaking from the back. I'm happy because if it was leaking from the front, I'd say it's leaking because of impact damage, maybe it's cracked somewhere. So it's leaking from the back because I don't know what's wrong. So right now, all we can do is just hope. Yo, I got better, fad. I got better. Engine needs to come out here. You, this one is a real death. The mounting is cracked. I think so is the block as well. Over here, mounting is cracked. Block is also cracked. Timing cover is torn as well. So the engine must have twisted this way. So the engine must have twisted during the collision because the mounting is cracked and the block is broken. The timing cover is kaput as well. So the engine needs to come out. Engine needs to come out. Engine needs to come out, and we need to probably replace the block as well. Oh, this one is bad. This one is bad.
This changes everything. This is no longer about replacing the front end of the car. Now we also have to do an engine rebuild, which means the cost of repair of this Golf 7 GTI may double. This is why buying crash damaged cars can sometimes be risky. You just never know what surprises lie ahead. That is why it's always advisable to check your vehicle at your nearest auction house before committing to a purchase. If you look closely on the engine block, you will see a massive opening, and we highly suspect that that opening was caused by the impact when the vehicle was involved in an accident.
Looks like now our priority is not all of the front things, but it is also getting the engine removed, changing the block. Would have been dope to do everything on one video. So I got this piston ring compressor. So I want to try this out when I'm changing the pistons on this block. So comment down below. It looks like we might have another full build video, so we might have to rebuild this motor as well as also finish up the front as well. So this, I thought was going to be an easy fix. It's now a big fix. At least the car runs, at least it starts. But the main issue right now, the engine needs to come out. With the front out as well, it's going to be very easy to remove the whole engine and everything. So yeah, engine and gearbox.
So what do we do from here? Let's assess what parts we need to replace.
So with that being said, the parts that we need for this car, I don't have the prices as yet. If you hear this and you are a supplier, because I see some great auto parts people follow us as well, you want to supply us, let me know. So we need a front bumper for this car. The one we have is kaput. We need a bonnet as well. That thing is like this. It's supposed to be like this. So we need 2 headlights. The modules on them are fine. So if we can get shells, that will be good. We need lower grille, upper grille. We need the small aircon pipe because that broke off. We need the bumper reinforce. This I'm gonna straighten myself. Just give it a nice beating with the 4-pound hammer. Give it a laka. How's your mother? That's what my my tutor used to say in training. Must give it a nice how's your mother. It'll be straight. So yeah, the bumper reinforced, that I'll sort out myself. We need radiator, condenser, intercooler, aircon compressor as well, V-belt, that's the cheap stuff. We need water pump as well. Water pump is broken on this car. We need a left-hand side boost pressure pipe complete. We need 1 PDC because 1 PDC is missing from that bumper. We need the fan. We need upper left-hand side radiator hose, lower right-hand side main radiator hose, bonnet catch, air duct air box. So the air duct air box is the one that sits horizontally on the grill, so we need that as well. And then we just need some oil and an oil filter, so that will be for servicing. And the oil will use nothing but the best castrol. And last but not least, what we'll also need is a new block. We'll also need a new block, so we'll be building this engine over. I'm going to be removing this whole engine out, reassemble it from the floor, and then take things from there, see how it goes. Hopefully no more nasty surprises, but the good thing is that the engine runs, which means there was no damage internally. Everything is good. We are finally going to be working on the Golf 7 GTI, so let's get this engine rebuild done. So first things first, when you want to remove an engine, you can remove this engine without the front being out. You can just simply take it out from the top, but you'll have to remove the fan just so that you've got enough space. I've done it plenty of times. You can watch my previous video that I posted when I did a Golf 7 GTI rebuild on how I pulled it out. So first things first, what you want to get done is to remove the wiring first. So that's what we're going to remove first. Remove all of the wiring, and so that we can remove the engine from all of its mounting points and then just simply pull it out. So removing the wiring is one of the first important steps to do. After the wiring is out, then we'll remove all of the hanging parts, like your back downpipe, which is your catalytic converter, your drive shafts, etc, etc. All right.
In the last video, we stripped the front end of the Golf 7 GTI and we got a list of all of the parts we need.
This one is bad. This one is bad.
But as you know, with projects, it's never straightforward. You always need more parts. For us to work comfortably, we'll have to remove the engine with the engine crane and then place it on the engine stand. Once the engine is on the engine stand, we'll be able to work comfortably on the engine. There's 3 different ways to remove an engine on a Golf 7 GTI. Either from the top, the bottom, or just simply removing the front bumper and taking it out from the front. Since we have enough space in the front and we've already stripped out the whole front of this vehicle, we might as well just remove the engine from the front. I began by removing the battery stand which holds the battery in place.
Next, you can remove your computer box wiring, because one of the harnesses is gonna go out with the engine itself. So this one as well, we'll have to disconnect. This is connected to a wiring loom, but this piece stays behind, so we have to remove it. Right, so that's out of the way. And then once this main harness is out, then you start checking one by one for all of the other harnesses that are connected to the harness that stays behind on the engine. So for example, we have this and many more. All right, I think you get the picture of what I'm trying to say. So let's remove all of the wirings.
The objective here is to disconnect all of the wiring so that we do not have an issue when it's time to remove the engine. Some of the wires that we have to remove include the wiring for the oxygen sensor, evap sensor, which sends important information to the car's ECU, which is the car's brain.
Some of the other ones you have to also remove them from the fuse box right here. So this is going to be your fuse box, so I have to remove this one. Come out with the engine like so, pull it down. Alright, so we're starting with the wiring. That's the most important thing. Fun facts: how did I learn to fix GTIs? I'll give you 2 seconds to guess. It wasn't through experience, it wasn't through watching someone, it wasn't through being taught by someone. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Comment down below on the video so long, and I'll come back to that question. Right, so this side we are done on this side for the wiring that stays behind. So it's all about going step by step, just so that you don't mess up anything. So now we're gonna come through to the engine side, because the gearbox side is done. We come to the engine side. So on the engine side, there's not much wiring that stays behind, but there's a lot of pipes that need to stay behind. So that's everything we're gonna be removing, including the water bottle as well as everything else. All right, so I think before we come this side, let's first remove the wiring that is in the back that needs to stay behind. You disconnect them here and you disconnect them there as well, and we're done. And then the evap sensor, first unclip it there and then you unplug it. So your evap is the one behind your this pipe right here. So all 3 are disconnected now. Next, what we also have to do is disconnect all of the hoses. Those pipes that connect onto the firewall, we need to remove those, and then all of these water pipes now. Stella. Next on the agenda is removing all of the coolant lines. So step by step, it's just important. Just be organized and just work step by step. And if it's your first time doing a Golf 7 GTI engine, what I always recommend, take as much pictures as you can, just so that once you are assembling, it's very easy. All right, so we're going to be using this for some of the hard to reach hoses. I love this tool. My APIs and technicians always break them, so I now have got my own tools. They can see what they do for themselves. Removing the water bottle gives us access to the engine mounting. All right, so with the water bottle on, you can't remove the engine mounting. Next, remove the fuel line and the water lines. You can just take it out from the high pressure fuel pump. High pressure fuel pump is here, so I think let's take it out from there as well, just to save ourselves a lot of time. All right. Once you've removed your clamp, it's always important to shake, just so that you don't battle too much when you're taking out. So as you can see, this one now is out. So that's your fuel line that delivers fuel from the tank to the high pressure fuel pump, from the high pressure fuel pump to the high pressure injectors and the low pressure fuel injectors. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to remove the nightmare hose clamps that connect onto the firewall. Those are very dangerous, they always break. So what I always recommend is to first soak them into some Q20, let it soak, let them unseize, and then once they've unseized, try to take them out gently. Why do they always break? It's because they are behind the engine and right next to the turbo and the exhaust manifold. So over there's a lot of heat. The plastic just becomes in a very serious relationship with the metal pipe that it connects to, and they do not want to be separated. So those pipes have got separation anxiety, and that's why you need to put some lube. Use a lubricant to unseize the pipes or anything that's like very hard to take out. So we'll lubricate them. Once they've lubed up, we'll just go work on the bottom end of the vehicle, which is removing all of the drive shafts. Right? So it's always important just to put this pipe as well, just so that you can reach the hard to reach places. Whilst that's busy soaking up, we'll just remove the wheels and we'll move on to the next phase of the vehicle to get it repaired. But as you can see so far, it's an easy process. All right. The serious stuff is coming when we strip out the engine. All right.
We'll have to remove the front tires so that we can remove the drive shafts that are connected to the gearbox. The reason for removing the drive shafts is because we will be removing the engine with the gearbox attached. In order for the wheels to come off, we'll have to try and look for the lock nut. Luckily, we found it in the boot.
So this is what we're looking for here. Lock nut. Locky nut.
Next, we got to removing the wheels and got the car jacked up to an operating height.
We'll have to also remove this just to have more space as well. Whenever your tire is stuck, after you removed all of the wheel nuts, just give it a light tap and then it'll come out. Cool. So for us to work comfortably, we'll have to remove this fender liner, the lower piece only, held in by a T25, and then continue. As you can see, it's just held by these screws. So on this Golf 7, we're going to be removing the drive shaft bolts, not from this side, but from there. All of those ones, we're going to remove all of those ones, just so that the gearbox can come out by itself. To remove the bolts, we're going to need a M10. A M10 multi-spline socket, short extension, and a swivel, maybe our gun too as well. So we're just going to need those tools just to remove the drive shaft, So it's always best to lock your disc, and then after locking the disc, as you're trying to remove the bolts that are holding the drive shaft, they're just going to come out. To lock, you can use like a star, whatever you want to use. I normally just use a really good tough star. Lock it in between the discs, because these have ventilated discs on the side. Lock it there and then start removing all of your nuts. So you just need to be careful as well that you don't hurt yourself and you don't hurt the vehicle as well. The reason for the short extensions is to just do this, and the swivel is so that you can hold it at an angle and then you start removing the bolts. It's much easier like this. That means it's too tight, you need to bust it with a ratchet or a power bar. And then your drive shafts have this thing that's called a retainer as well, so don't lose that. So if you have guessed, I'm going to tell you all now how I learned. So I learned how to fix GTIs on YouTube and Google. So that's where I learned how to do and rebuild GTI engines, and then also of course like going the extra mile and just reading manuals and stuff. But I didn't get fancy training or whatever. It's just passion and just wanting to grow yourself, being self-taught.
After removing the 6 bolts, you're going to have to remove the 3 nuts that are located under the controller. Once that is done, you can then pull the stub axle towards you so that the drive shafts can fall off. The Golf 7 GTI also has some wiring that needs to be disconnected from the bottom. After that was done, it was time to remove the lollipop mounting, which is located under the gearbox. And I also discovered that the bushes for this lollipop mounting are finished. Next, we need to remove the catalytic converter. The catalytic converter has to be removed because it connects to the turbo. The catalytic converter is a part in a vehicle that helps reduce carbon emissions. The catalytic converter is mounted onto the block by 2 13mm bolts. Once the bolts are loose, you can use your hand to remove. Next, we had to lower the car so that we can remove the gear linkages. Now that all of the wiring is disconnected, the catalytic converter removed, we can now focus on trying to remove the engine.
So we're going to be lifting our engine from this engine holding bracket over here. This way we're going to pick it up with the jack over there. Once it's in the air, once there's tension, we're going to remove the bolts from our mountings, pull it out. So I've had this jack for over I think 10 years now. If this doesn't scream quality, I don't know what is, but I think it's time for this thing to retire now. Well, the frame is still fine. It's just this that needs to be retired. I think we just need to get a new bottle jack. Comment down below where we can get one. Please let us know. Want to sponsor too? Let us know.
The only thing holding the engine now is just the engine mountings.
The engine mounting. Right, so that's all three out, and then we need to go to the other side. Then we'll start playing and wiggling the engine around just so that it can come out. Three bolts out. I think we should be able to remove our engine now. If you are removing the engine from the top, you're not going to remove those three bolts. You're going to remove that whole entire mounting that's on the gearbox. All right, just so that it comes out much easy. So now, as I said, we'll just wiggle it all about until it comes out. Hopefully we don't break anything. Right, so that is the engine out in less than 45 minutes. Right, it's quite easy if you're going to be putting it out from the front. So now, next step, let's get this engine stropped into pieces.
The engine and gearbox is now removed, and as you just saw, that wasn't too difficult. With the engine and gearbox safely removed, we need to now remove the gearbox from the engine so that we can place the engine on the engine stand. The first thing we'll have to remove on the gearbox is the casing found on the gearbox.
So once that's out, so as you can see, there's an Allen key over there. You need to remove that Allen key as well. So let's put this away.
We can then start removing the gearbox bolts. And in case you're wondering why I'm letting all of this DSG fluid leak out, it's because we'll be servicing this DSG gearbox once we've rebuilt this motor. The starter will have to be removed since it blocks some bolts.
So I'm putting everything in the order that I took it out. So once the engine was out, the first thing we removed was this cover, then it was this case, then it was the module, now it's the starter. So when I'm assembling, I'm gonna possibly come from this side, end up there, you know, so put everything in order, makes your life much easier.
Hey Mambo, what would you say to someone that says they wouldn't be able to do all the work you just did because they don't have a big fancy ramp or fancy equipment?
I'd say, let's go to Jet and let me buy you a panty. Can't make excuses like here. I've been working on the ground with nothing. If you want to do it, you'll do it. It's simple. If you want to do it, you'll do it. You must always make a plan. As a man, in fact, it's a life lesson. You must always make a plan. Don't be stopped by nothing. Just be a beast. Have at it. Push through, Baba. Make a plan.
At this point, most of the things holding the gearbox to the engine have been removed. We got the last few bolts removed, and I had to get some help from a technician to remove the gearbox safely.
Next thing to remove, flywheel, then the backing plate, then we're done. Flywheel is held by M12. Tool in a can, every man's best friend.
After that, we removed this zinc spacer.
This is your rear main seal. This you have to take out as well because it's very hard to take it out once you got the engine on the block. Once you got the engine on the engine stand. So this way to come out, you have to chisel it out because it's held by silicone. And you can't reuse this. Have to change it because you can see when you take it out, it gets damaged. And you don't want to go through all of this hard work just to change this, just because you are too cheap to change the rear main seal. So that's the rear main seal out. That's why also I don't like fixing cheapskates cars, because you tell them, right, replacing this is a preventative maintenance measure. They're like, no, but it was fine. You're just trying to upsell and take more money out of me. I'm like, hey boss, you have to replace this. No, it was fine. You put it back, now the car is leaking. And then they say, no, when I brought my car to you, it wasn't leaking. And I say, I told you, but you have to change this. And then it's a back and forth. Sometimes fixing people's cars is just an unnecessary headache. If I could survive off of you guys just doing content, trust me, I would jump the ship immediately.
Now we can get the engine onto the stand. After mounting the engine stand bracket, I had to get some help to get the engine onto the stand.
Right. So now what's going to happen, when I remove all of the wiring that's left on the car, and then we'll do exhaust side, then intake side, and then yeah, everything is basically done after that. So let's get the wiring removed.
I started with the wiring around the ignition coils and spark plugs. When that was done, I started removing the rest of the wiring loom.
That's the top end of the loom out. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna see what we can take out next. Otherwise, yeah, everything is just going tits up.
Now I can remove these coils. Now we can focus on getting the coolant lines removed. Once that was done, we can remove the PCV system. Next, the high pressure fuel pump.
When I'm working on clients' Golf 7 GTI, I always quote these pipes because they most of the time always seized on. You can put as much lube as you want. These you can never get them out properly in one piece, but we'll try today. But I know my experience says these are always a problem to come out. So the reason why I'm taking this out is mainly because these pipes are holding onto the block, so I'd rather take them off now.
Let's get to the turbo. The lubricant will help us loosen the pipes that are seized onto the block.
As you can see, it's coming out little bit by little bit. That is the turbo bolts out. All of them are out now. So we're just gonna remove the turbo bracket. Once the bracket is out, we clear. Cool. So some of the pipes have been left behind because they were a little bit too stubborn to come out, but we've got more than enough space now to try and persuade those other pipes to come out. So exhaust side is done, right? We could have removed the cylinder head with the block, but I think we might also need a new cylinder head. But let's strip. Let's carry on stripping and see.
I turned the engine over so that we could focus on the rest of the components that need to be removed before we remove the cylinder head. Let's get the alternator removed.
Next, we're gonna have to remove the oil cooler housing. Looks like it's in pieces as well, so we need an oil cooler housing for the car as well. So yeah, let's get that removed.
But to get to the oil cooler, we had to remove the engine mounting first.
As the engine now mounting broken.
Once the engine mounting was removed, we could focus on the oil cooler. Next is the water pump.
Alright, that's the water pump out. Water pump needs to be replaced because it's broken. It got damaged on impact. So it is as good as kaput. Let's take out the intake manifold, then take out the timing chains and the head, and then strip the block bare.
With the water pump successfully removed, we can now focus on trying to remove the intake. Finally, most of the hanging parts are off.
We can put the engine back straight, and then we can start stripping the cylinder head out. Alright. All of the nonsense stuff is out and out of the way. Now we're gonna see some magic. How many minutes here stripping? Give me what, 10 minutes? Right.
And now I'm going to attempt to strip this engine down in just 15 minutes. Let's get it done. We'll have to start with the top timing chain cover.
Next, we're removing the top timing cover. If they put silicone on your timing cover, punch them in the stomach because you're supposed to change it. The only time this thing leaks is if it gets warped, so you need to change this.
Next, the camshaft saddle. Now the bottom timing cover. We will need an impact gun to remove the crank pulley bolt. In the meantime, I started removing the camshaft bridge, followed by the camshafts. After that, we can now remove the cylinder head.
Next, we are loosening the head bolts. Shoosh. This is tough.
How long do you think you've got?
7 minutes.
And with one easy pull.
Wait, what's holding now?
Gasket and chain guide.
No, not the chain guide. Yeah, a lot of cleaning to do. Here, lots of cleaning. Otherwise, head is out now. Yeah, I did say 10 minutes, still have 4. I beat my record there.
42 seconds actually.
Whatever.
Let's get the crank pulley bolt removed. To remove the lower timing cover, we'll have to try to pry it out. With that removed, we can remove what's remaining of the timing chain and the timing chain guides. Turn the engine over so that we can start working on the bottom end. First, let's undo the plastic sump. With that off, we can now remove the oil pump guard so that we can get to the oil pump. Now let's get to the pistons. We got the first piston out and it was in good condition, including the bearings. The second one was in equally good condition. It's important to mark the pistons and keep them organized. With all 4 pistons out, we can now prepare to remove the crankshaft.
Right, that's all the main bearing caps out. They're all looking very scrumptious. They're all looking good. So I don't think the crank got damaged. So got the standard size bearings there, which is good. Right, so once your main bearing caps are out and your con rods are also out, all you have to do is lift up your very heavy crankshaft and be careful you don't lose your thrust washers. There's 2 of them. Next, we'll just remove the bearings that are left behind. So there's 5 of them in total.
Alright, so all of those bearings are out. This block is now bare. The only thing that's left is the turbo pipes and some of the sensors. Otherwise we're done. Now we can move on over to stripping the new block so that we can put some of our old parts into the new block.
There you have it. We managed to get the engine out and tear it down successfully.
We're going to be rebuilding this engine step by step once again for you guys to learn. And as you'll see, fixing GTIs is not rocket science. Very easy to strip, very easy to tear down. You can also do it in the comfort of your backyard.
Right, so we have made some progress on our Golf 7 GTI, and the progress is I found a block somewhere amongst the scrap in my workshop. Found a block and we have begun assembling it. All 4 pistons are in and the first timing chain is also in. But one thing I've noticed right now is that we've got a seized pipe, those pipes that I told you guys about that are very difficult to take out. So we got one that is seized on here. So before we even go any further, what I want to do is I want to try and see if we can get it out. If we can't get it out, then this block is as good as scrap. So that's the first thing that we're going to be doing today. And apologies that I didn't show you all how to put the pistons, but I'm going to show you in the next video. If you want to see as well, you can check the previous video where I rebuilt my Golf 7 GTI and the Porsche Macan as well. It's the same engine. So right now what we have stuck is this right here. So this is stuck and we're going to try and apply some heat and see if it comes out. I'm going to try applying some heat. Don't know if it'll make it worse or make it better, but I've tried to hit it with a hammer. That didn't help. So we're gonna put some heat now. And this thing got a rubber seal inside, so that might melt onto the block, make it worse. But I suppose it can't get any worse than this.
After applying some heat to this turbo pipe, it still wouldn't budge.
I'm gonna attempt to try and knock it out again. Because last night I put some Q20 on it, thinking that, you know, when I come in the morning it'll just go whoop, out, but nah, it had other plans. This thing's not moving.
We even made use of the vice grip and a hammer to try and get the seized on pipe out. Eventually we managed to get the pipe removed.
And finally out. Finally out. The seal must have been the culprit for here, so now we're gonna clean it. Looks like we can use this block. So yeah, when they charge you big money to remove these turbo pipes, I think now you got the understanding of why.
It's quite important to clean the block before installing anything to it to ensure that no contaminants go into the engine and cause unnecessary wear and tear. Removing contaminants and grime allows for proper assembly and accurate measurements, and also optimal performance. As you can see, one of our technicians is helping us remove the silicone from the old cylinder head. Now that everything has been cleaned effectively, we can now prepare to put the cylinder head onto the block.
Right, so we're gonna get the cylinder head installed. What I like to do first is just make sure everything is decontaminated first, just so that you don't have any like compression gas leaks, water leaks anywhere. So I've cleaned this multiple times. I first like to lube it, then clean it with brake parts cleaner, and then just blow it. So yeah, also just have a rag, make sure your hands are clean. Just the small particles like small sand, if they sit on the surface of the block, it can create some big issues for you. Trust me, I've seen it a lot of times before. So it's the cylinder head gasket. It's just important to make sure that all of the holes, dowels align, just so that when you put on your head, you don't have an issue with the dipstick not going in. So this is how this one fits. Next is going to be our cylinder head. So we're using our old cylinder head for this car, since there was nothing wrong with it. So the cylinder head as well, just make sure that the dowels sit nicely and you can't shake it from side to side. So this is properly on. Next, we're gonna put on the cylinder head bolts and torque them down.
Always very important for us to clean the cylinder head bolts even if they are new and lubricate them before we install them.
So we're gonna put in our cylinder head bolts now. It's also very good to lubricate them up before you put them in, just so that they tighten up smoothly, they don't crack, because these are torque to yield bolts. So remember, you also don't reuse them. And in case you're also wondering why we're wearing this shirt, this is our new uniform that we're going to be doing our videos in. So it's got most of the companies that help us create content for you guys. So every single company that you see here is companies that contribute to us being able to make videos on a weekly basis for you. Gobert, Castrol, and then Don't Hate, Congratulate there. We've got our official thingy-mabob for it. Car Vertical, Mambo Repairs, and helping Mzansi people out. Remember to also check the website to see for our latest car giveaways. Right, so make sure you just always check that website so that you know as soon as we have a car that we are giving away, because it'll always now be a first come first serve. And as soon as we hit the 150k mark, 150k subs, we're going to be giving that car away to the guys that had a rollover for the previous competition. So just guess in the comments what type of car or what car you'd like to see us give away. Guess in the comments or give us a suggestion for our next free giveaway. So remember, you need to lube these up as well. Once those are lubed up, you can toss them inside. Then we're gonna start torquing down our head bolts. So today we got Spare helping us, just so that this car we can finish it off quickly. It's gonna be as quiet as a mouse. So yeah, it's gonna be helping us. I wanna get this thing slapped on my car today. Hopefully get it running. If it means you're gonna come out late, you're gonna come out late. And guess what? You're gonna be working for free, no overtime here. So I normally like to use a speed brace if I'm putting down the cylinder head bolts, but I think it's in like the main shop or something. So we're gonna be making use of a T-bar. So just always run them down, and as soon as it reaches the floor, just give it a little bit of a nick. Now that we've put all the bolts down, we're going to start torquing it down. When we're torquing this down, we're going to do 40 Newton meters, then 290 degrees. So it's also very important to divide your 40 Newton meters by 2, not just go 40 Newton meters once. So you'll do a first 20, then do your second 20. So that's the first 20. Alright, so we did 20 first, now we're gonna do 40. So when you are tightening the cylinder head as well, it's also very important to go in the sequence that the manufacturer recommends. Right, so it's 40 Newton meters now. Now it's time for 290s. So when I do the 290s, I don't use any fancy dial gauges. I just mark all of the bolts at 12 o'clock, so it'll be one straight line. And then I'll start torquing it down. I'll see it as soon as it's absolutely horizontal, then it'll be at 90 degrees. So I'll show you once I'm done marking all of them, what it looks like. So this is what it looks like once I've marked all of the head bolts. So right now they all faced this way. So as soon as I do my first 90, it's going to be faced horizontally. So it's going to be faced that way. That's how I know have a 90-degree angle. That also helps in terms of not torquing a bolt more than the specified time. So with that as well, each to their own. You use what works for you. This is what has worked for me for the past years. So yeah, don't come here in my comment section talking me nonsense there. If you've built as many GTI engines as I have, then you qualify to say something. But yeah, this is what works for me. No comebacks, no issues as well. So as you can see, you'll see, I'll show you guys once I'm done talking all of these on the first 90, what they look like now after they've twisted. So as you can see, they're all pointed horizontally now. So as soon as we do the second 90, they're all going to be faced to the top. And we're going to know that all of them have been torqued because they all now facing the same direction. This is what works for me. It makes my engine assembly on these cars much easier. So yeah, if you've got like a better idea, you can recommend, but don't tell me I'm doing the wrong thing. So the second 90 is done. So the head bolts are now all tightened down. All we have to do now is tighten the Torxes on the side. Once that's done, then we are done.
Once our cylinder head bolts have been torqued down to manufacturer specifications, we can now start by installing our hydraulic lifters and our rocker arms.
So these are our hydraulic lifters with the rollers as well. This is what actuates your valve to open and close. This piece goes to the valve and then this one goes into the hole. So I'll normally just put some oil inside where they go. I don't know why I do it, but I've done it for years and I haven't had any issues. The skinny one, the skinny roller, goes to your exhaust, and the fat ones go to your intake. All of our lifters are in now. Once all of your lifters are in, it should look a little something like this. Always ensure they're in position.
And then move on to install the camshafts.
We'll just decontaminate again. We have to lube up the cam saddles where our cams are going to be sitting. You can always use this grease. It melts once the car is hot, or just use oil, whichever you are happy with, you know. But this I like because it's much more thicker than oil, so you get to turn the engine more times without fear of like damaging anything.
This engine features a dual overhead camshafts, which means that it has camshafts that operate the exhaust valves and has a camshaft that also operates the inlet valves. After installing the camshafts, we lubricated them so that they can turn much easily and don't cause any damage because of being dry. Next, the camshaft saddle.
We're going to put sealant on our camshaft saddle. If ever you find oil on the plugs, the top of the plugs of your Golf 7, it's normally because of this here. This wasn't probably sealed properly, or the seal over here is now like gone kaput, you know, it's finished. Put too much of silicone over here, just enough. You put too much of silicone, when you close up, what happens is when it squishes, some of it goes on the inside, some of it goes on the outside. The one sometimes that goes on the inside goes in the engine and then it clogs up stuff, oil galleries and stuff. Then you have endless issues.
It is impossible to start working on the timing without installing the camshaft saddle.
On this one as well, I think it's also a good idea to just go in a donut formation, go around in a spiral, because remember this is aluminum. You don't want to start like from one side and go, because it's gonna like lift up on one side. So once you've got like your main ones in down, you can focus on all of the middle ones. So now we're just gonna do the outers, just so that we know that this thing is now clamped down properly. Once all of the outers are done, then we can just maybe even use a gun just to make things fast.
So once the camshaft saddle was in, we could start working on the timing chain.
So now we're gonna put on our timing chain. Again, disinfect. It's important to disinfect, even if you work in a dirty workshop, small one like this one. Disinfect, baba. Disinfect, clean, and lubricate. You live by those things. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you'll see magic. Things will just miraculously be fixed just because you work clean. The car will give you sympathy and be like, at least you clean some parts, let me run, you know.
Installing the timing chain on these vehicles can sometimes be tricky because the camshafts like to spring back. So we'll normally use a timing tool to lock the cams in place.
So the most important thing is to just line up the marks. That's quite easy. You don't even need these locking tools. It just makes the whole process a lot more easier. So having this as well to lock the tensioner also helps a lot. Right, since our timing chain is on now, we're just gonna put on the cam bridge, and then we're gonna turn the car the engine at least like 20 times to ensure it's not catching anywhere or we don't hear any funny noises. So we're gonna turn it 20 times because we put enough lube in there. So let's decontaminate. These are a little bit of a anna to put in. So cam bridge is on. Gonna put on the bolts. After the bolts, then we're gonna put on the VVT solenoids, and then we're gonna turn the engine. You can turn the engine even with this not installed, but I don't know, it's just practice for me. I like to turn it with this installed.
Now that the timing chain has been installed, we need to make sure that the engine is turning without any problems.
Everything seems to be in order, no clackety clacks on the top. The engine is not jamming anywhere, so we're gonna close it up now. Top timing cover, lower timing cover. We're gonna first put on the oil pump chain. After that's done, then we're gonna close up everything.
The oil pump of this vehicle is located on the lower sump of the engine, and we need to secure it by tightening these bolts.
We have to like remove the oil pump first because it can't fit the chain. It's a very small chain held by a very small tensioner as well.
There's just one piece left before we close up the timing chain.
So now we're gonna put on this tensioner. It's for the oil pump, and we're gonna basically be done with this. Now we can close up the top timing cover and lower timing cover. First we'll just decontaminate one more time.
Before installing the timing chain cover, we need to change the gasket that fits onto the timing chain cover.
Our top timing cover gasket, we're not changing the whole cover itself because we're trying to save money here. So only changing the gasket, which I think will suffice for now. So this will be good, just to prevent all of the oil from leaking out.
This cover and this gasket will help us not to have any leaks on our engine. Now we need to turn the engine over so we can start closing the bottom end of this engine. First, the sump guard.
Right, sump guard is on.
Then the sump itself. And now it's time to put on the lower timing cover. Since the lower timing cover does not come with a gasket, we need to apply silicone to the cover. Once the silicone has been applied carefully onto the cover, we can now place the cover onto the engine and screw it on to manufacturer specification.
Timing cover is now on, so you're just gonna put on the crank pulley, just you know we're done one time.
After installing the crank pulley bolt, I needed to make sure that the engine could still turn.
Yeah, pulley looks straight, everything looks good. Right, since all of this is like basically done, we're gonna work this thing rainbow style. I like to call it rainbow style because we're gonna start from this side all the way to the exhaust side. So we're gonna work our way from the bottom, so that's your water pump, oil cooler, etc, etc, right?
Let's get it done. Now we need to turn the engine so we can work comfortably on the intake side of the engine. Let's get the oil cooler housing installed.
So this is the oil cooler housing, brand new second hand, because the other one, that which is the old one, was cracked and damaged. Check it there. So it's broken on the mounting points where, like, I think alternators and compressors mount. It's broken there. It's broken where the oil switch also sits there. So it's broken on a lot of places. So lucky for me, I'm a parts hub when it comes to engines for GTIs, Golf 7s to be precise. So we got 1-2 couple parts lying around.
Next, the water pump. We first had to apply a little bit of sandpaper to clean the area. Once the water pump was installed, we had to install the belt that drives the water pump. And now let's move on to the intake manifold. Before installing the intake manifold, we had to first put in the injector rail. Now we can put on the intake manifold. Next, the water pump cover. The engine is really coming along. Now let's install the high pressure fuel pump. With that installed, we can now install the PCV. The intake side of this engine is now complete.
So we're gonna work on the exhaust side now. The intake side is done. Work on the exhaust side, assemble as much as we can, and then do the top. And then once the top is done, then we're done. Then we're putting on Gearbox. Big grafters, boy. Comment down below. Let me know how much is this whole job worth. How many hours? If an hour is worth $1,000, how much is a good price to charge someone to do this? 11 grand, 14 grand, 700 trillion.
700 trillion.
Let's start with the exhaust side. We began with these pipes for the turbo.
So now we're taking off the pipe that we had an issue with on that old block. So we're gonna try to save it. This pipe, you can only get it from the agents. And guess how much it costs? 700 trillion. We took it out properly, and you can see we managed to put it on. So the next guy that's going to be working on this car is not going to have an issue like I had, because somebody with brains installed this.
And then we prepared to install the turbo.
Gang, you know how we do, man. Chasing the sun because we're trying to get a good tan. Truth is, I'm just trying to make a little plan.
So turbo in. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna put the pipes that came out with the turbo. So it's these ones here. So hopefully they don't give me too much problems. Big progress now. Turbo on, all of the turbo pipes. That's the one thing I was scared of, that it's gonna give me like a lot of issues. But yeah, since I stripped the car myself, everything is coming out just nicely and going back on just nicely. So the old mounting brackets for the engine mounting, if you remember, was broken on the other one. This is our brand new second-hand one from the many parts I have for GTIs in my shop that are not for sale to the general public. So don't ask me in the comment section for any parts. This is for my projects. So this is our old one. As you can see right there, it got broken off. So this is our brand new second hand. So how do I get parts for these cars? Mostly if I replace engines. So I'll normally get some customers that will like replace engines. Other engines will come with everything, and then we've got a lot of spare parts. The dipstick, let's put the dipstick first. Once the dipstick is on, we can put the bracket on. So it's normally a little bit of a pain to install the dipstick with this already on. You can install it, but it's a pain. So now we're gonna install the top end of this build now, because this is on, turbo is on, intake side is on. Now we're gonna do the top end of the car, put the wiring, and then put some water pipes and stuff, and then we're all good. And install the coil packs as well, and then we're gonna start doing the wiring. So the coil packs as well, I like to just grease them up a little bit on the tops, just so that when you are taking them out, this normally gets brittle over time, and then as it goes brittle, it just like breaks off when you're taking them out. So I just always work and think about the other guy, you know. So I always think for the next mechanic, even though everything I get is bad, next mechanic's gonna be happy to work on those things. Gonna be like, ooh, so easy. Ooh, so easy. Everything's gonna be easy. I know it's a lot of work that we put in here now.
Now the coolant pipes. We can now start installing the engine wiring harness.
Once you start seeing these babies, you must know game over.
We have a few components left, like the alternator. Now we need to put on some parts that are vital for the vehicle's aircon to work.
We're gonna put in our, what's this thing, aircon compressor, but this is the old one. So we're going to get another second-hand aircon compressor. Guess from where? Our second-hand VW store. So we got one that came from another engine. Yeah, we need to clean it first, decontaminate. So we got one for this engine. So yeah, we think we can get this car ready for gas motor show. We might be going to gas motor show. Think can we get it ready by then?
Followed by many more pipes and wires. My technician and I worked tirelessly to get these pipes installed in the correct positions and the wiring installed in their rightful sensors. The engine is now complete.
Right, engine assembly is done. Now we're just gonna move the engine from the engine stand, and then we are going to put on the box, put on a flywheel, and then we're gonna mount the engine onto the vehicle, engine and box, and then we're gonna see if it runs. Will she run?
To get the gearbox mounted onto the engine, we'll have to make use of the engine crane. We successfully managed to remove the engine from the engine stand. To install the gearbox, we'll first need to attach the flywheel. But before we can even start to attach the flywheel, we have to install the rear main seal.
Right, now that the rear main seal is on, and then the spacer is also on, time to put on our flywheel. This thing, I can never get used to how heavy it is.
And with a little bit of effort, we managed to reinstall the DSG gearbox back onto the engine.
Right, so gearbox is finally on, finally. Hey, it's late now, I think 11 o'clock at night, working hard. So gearbox is on. Now that the gearbox is on, we're going to put the transfer case on as well, and then we're going to slap it on the car and then see what happens afterwards. So it doesn't want to go in by itself, so we're just going to pull it in gently with the bolts and then take it from there. Take it from there. Take it from, I should have been a singer, eh? I have a lovely voice. Lovely voice. Take it from there. I can already see Grammy Award winner.
Now let's install the starter. The engine and gearbox are now in one piece, and it's finally time to put the engine back into the vehicle.
I'm gonna try attempt to put on the engine now. Been some long hours.
We moved the engine crane a little closer so that we could install the engine much easily, and a few adjustments later, we were able to successfully place the engine into the vehicle.
Right, engine in. Next, plug it the wiring, start the car out of here.
There is still some work left to be done, like the wiring.
Now that the engine is on, it is time for us to tackle the wiring. So the wiring is like easy stuff. You'll saw me take it out, so I don't want to bore you all with that, guys. With that being said, all right, so the wiring is, I'd say 80% done. Right now I'm just putting in the module for underneath. Don't worry about these ones. These wires you see hanging here, all extra ones, we don't need them, we'll just cut them off. Just joking. So yeah, we're almost done. Let's just put on the modules. Suspension as well is kaput, it's done. So let's close up this module for the gearbox and then finish up in the top, and then we'll try and start this car. We'll see if we can start it while everything is stripped like this. Comment down below, let me know if it will start with everything out like this. So I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed that at least the timing is right, everything is good. I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed for that one, and then just hope for the best. Hopefully no explosions when we try and start it.
Hey Mambo, what's your least favorite thing about rebuilding cars?
Definitely wiring. Definitely wiring, without a doubt, without hesitation. It's definitely wiring. It's always something I don't look forward to. Like, for example, GTIs, I don't know how many I've done in the past, and yet I will always struggle just a little bit. A little bit, not too much. I'll always just struggle just a little bit. But yeah, it's one of the, I'd say, spots or part of the rebuild that is much slower. Tearing out the engine, stripping it down, rebuilding it back, boss, that takes me 30 minutes like hey. But when it comes to wiring, I could spend like a good 2 hours sometimes. Yeah, wiring, because you don't want to put incorrect wiring in the incorrect places. You burn your computer box, you know. So I just always like to practice caution when it comes to wiring. So yeah, it's wiring. Not my favorite one, that one. But we are almost done with this one. Just putting on the starter and then figure out where some of the other wirings go. And then after that, we're ready to try and start this car up. Yo, I hate wiring.
People are gonna say, why you never took pictures?
I'm gonna reply and say, whose job is that one? It's not the cameraman's job. That's gonna be a nice comeback, huh? If they ask me that, they're gonna get you in trouble. Computer box next. I think we're ready to start now, huh? Put on some oil and then try and get her started up. Let's see if she'll run. I know Golf 6s, they don't wanna run if this pipe for the throttle body going to the coolers, intercooler and stuff. On a Golf 6, it doesn't wanna start. So we'll check on this one. If it's the same story. I've never had to start a Golf 7 without the front, but this time, no choice. Buying.
The Golf 7 GTI can take up to 6 liters of oil on a dry fill.
Since it's a dry fill, we're gonna put 5 liters. If we need more, we'll just top up.
Now let's put in some fresh oil since we're gonna be using a new oil filter.
Let's check if there's no oil leaking straight through. Okay, that's good. Last time, when we put oil in this car, just went straight through, and that was because of the hole in the block. So now We've got no hole in the block because we replaced the block, replaced the timing covers that were broken. Basically did a big graph on this car. And close it up, just do last minute inspections and then start the car up. So we'll try and start it without the airbox on, and then we'll see what it does. If it runs, then yeah, we're cool. Then we're just gonna close up everything. If it's not running, at least we'll still have enough space to strip again and try again. Alright, got our V-belt on now. Right. So we're also not gonna run the car for too long because we're not going to run the car for too long, mainly because we don't have any water in the cooling system. So as long as we've got our oil, we're good. It's just to see if we did a good job with the engine running. And then yeah, tomorrow, which is going to be the next video for you guys, we're going to be doing some panel beating, straightening this out, putting on the crash bar, making sure everything aligns properly, putting on the radiator, the intercoolers, alles, and then making sure that the car is perfect. So it's basically going to be done on the engine side and the exterior side, because we even have a new bonnet. So we're going to get that installed black. It's not even painted as yet, so everything's going to be black, but it's fine because I just want the car in a complete state so that we can focus on doing our airbags, doing the windscreen, and then once all of that is done, we can most probably like drive it to the panel beater and get the car painted and sorted out. All right. Comment down below if you'd like to collaborate and feature on Mambo Repairs and get the notice that your business deserves. Right, so if you remember from the last video, I had an issue with our start button. It was sticky. It being sticky, it was very hard to switch off the engine. Hopefully we can get the engine switched off in time if there is something wrong. So this time around I'll start it myself. Right. So we'll just tighten this up just a little bit and then try and get this car started.
Now the big question is, will she start?
Right, so we're gonna see now. I'm just jumping in the car. I don't know even where the key for this car is, so it looks like I got the key here. Got the key here, and then this is our start button that was faulty, and then yeah, our cluster, everything. So let's try and firstly get the car switched on. All right, let's get that done. Yeah, so no key in range. So the battery of this thing sucks. The key is right here, but it's saying no key in range. So if it says that, you just have to put the key right there and then attempt to try and start this car. Okay, so it's switching on. Now I'm gonna try and start it up. So I think it's gonna crank 1-2 couple of times because it's gonna need to pick up the oil pressure and the fuel pressure, but let's see. Okay, the battery we got on here is quite weak. It's got some faults. The faults we have is for water level sensor, 1-2 couple of things, but it did start a little bit. Let's try again. This battery is letting me down. Let's get another battery. Right, time for round 2. Gonna try and start this thing again. Right, I'm starting. Right, so we made a plan. We hung the key there. Yeah, so let's switch it on again. Okay, it's on. Let's swing it. We've got a good battery on there now. Let's try and start it up. Right. Car starts nicely, sharp. Doesn't sound like it's got a misfire. It's got a lot of faults because we still need to put on a lot of stuff. Yeah. Okay, so okay, we don't have a misfire. I thought we had a misfire. Yeah, pretty smooth. It's gonna be a lot more smoother once the pipes are on. So right now it's just gonna starve for air since it's not getting the boost from the turbo. So when I rev it, it's just taking time to rev. Otherwise, I think the engine is running smooth. Everything is laka, everything is amnandi. I'm starting again.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, cool. Is there no oil on the floor?
Nothing, no oil.
No oil on the floor. Alright, so looks like everything is good on this car. It's starting, so now what we have to do is just put our everything on, basically the front, all of the pipes, boost pressure pipes, intercooler pipes, alles zonke donke, and then the car's going to be running smoothly. So from tomorrow we're installing the front, bonnet, everything, and then we're going to call our airbag specialist to get the airbags sorted out. We're going to strip out the dash. Our car's running, W repaired, W rebuilt. So right now what's left is the front. So guys, today we're going to be doing a lot on this GTI. Number one, we are going to be sending this car to the panel beater and getting the arm straightened on this GTI, as well as getting the bonnet replaced, as well as fixing and respraying the new bumper of this vehicle, and also sorting out the airbags. We're going to be sorting out the airbags as well on this car. So the reason why I am not going to be doing this myself is mainly because of time. We've got too many projects, guys. So yeah, today we're actually going to be getting everything sorted out on this vehicle. All right, so yeah, let's go.
There's plenty of damage on the vehicle that needs panel beating, so we'll have to send the vehicle over for some panel beating and structural repair.
All right, so we attempted to put the front bumper reinforce, and the arms did not actually align, so it needs to be pulled in together. I wanted to do everything myself, but I see that I'm going to be struck for time. So we're going to send this Golf 7 GTI to the panel beater. The next time you see this vehicle, well, the bumper's going to be sprayed. The bumper's in the car. It's going to have a new bonnet, and that's also going to be sprayed. And the airbags are also going to be done. So this car will come back in much better shape than this. See you then. The Golf 7 GTI gone. Next time you see that thing, it'll be looking scramdilliumptious.
Getting the panel beating and the structural repairs done was a walk in the park for our panel beater. And a week later, we were able to get the vehicle back from the panel shop. As you can see, the front end is completely off. No bumper, just an exposed cradle. And it's actually safe to say it looks like a mess. We're going to make sure that we get this Golf 7 back to showroom condition. Let's get it done. First things first, the new radiator support is ready to go in, but it was a little bit of a tight fit. And with a little bit of persuasion and heckling, it finally drops into place. These Golf 7 GTI headlights are very expensive, and that explains why they always get stolen. But we managed to get clean second-hand ones. This is the new bumper. We need to line it up to make sure everything fits snug, and to also just get a glimpse of what it will look like when it's done. To make everything a little bit faster, we'll also install the PDCs and the headlight washer jets. Actually made some great progress on the outside of the vehicle.
So as you can see right behind me, the Golf 7 GTI is taking shape slowly but surely. I'm a little bit disappointed by the PDCs. We have to get other ones which are like brand new from the agents, just so that they sit much more properly, because it looks like the aftermarket ones aren't sitting as lacquer as we would want them to sit. And we also need to just align the bumper. So right now what I actually want to do is to get the car as assembled as much as possible, so that we can send the car back to the panel beater and he can help us align the bonnet just so that it is nice and straight, and then he will also just install our PDCs for us when we get them from the agents. So with that being said, let's move on to the little bit that is left.
But now it's time to have a look on the inside. The steering wheel airbag was also replaced. It looked like brand new again. If you also notice, dome lights on this Golf 7 were also damaged, so we'll actually have to get that repaired as well. We had to replace the outer bracket so that it holds properly. We also noticed that the driver's side window would not operate normally, but we quickly found out that the issue was a disconnected wire, and the windows are now working again. With that done, the interior is now assembled and complete, only leaving the cracked windscreen. Now let's send the car back to the panel beater one last time for its final spray, and to also help us align the bumper properly. And a week later, the car returned looking incredibly brand new, or should I say pops like air. And now, the moment I've been personally waiting for.
Alright, the Golf 7 GTI is finally back from the panel beater, and by the looks of things, it does not look like it was ever in an accident. Right now, all that's left for us to do is to actually check the suspension. So this car is now driving because we fixed the engine, it is running and it looks good, but we can't put it on the main road as well because I don't have the disc, license plate, etc. So what we're actually going to do, check the suspension, and then we're just going to test it locally just to see if it's boosting, we got all the power, because that one thing that we haven't done with this car is actually test drive it. So let's lift it up, let's check out the suspension. Right, so just checking the wheels if they're nice and tight, no play, no nothing.
It's time to test drive this Golf 7 GTI. But before we do that,
now that the suspension is checked, I am happy to get this car tested. And this car will eventually be sold to a new owner. But the new owner can rest assured by simply using Car Vertical. He can get the full history of this vehicle, including some of the past accident pictures of this vehicle. Car Vertical is a user-friendly platform that gives you the true mileage of the vehicle and the vehicle's timeline.
Car Vertical allows you to check the full history of the vehicle, including the true mileage and whether the car has been involved in an accident before, or if the vehicle has ever been stolen or not.
You can also take full advantage of Car Vertical's user-friendly platform by simply typing in our promo code, which is Mambo20, or just click the link in the description of this video and you can get yourself a 20% discount on your next Car Vertical check. Avoid the nasty surprises and just use Car Vertical. Yeah, we've got no fuel here, so we're gonna just test this car on a very quick test run. Just go, come back. This is gonna be officially our first test drive, so let's start this baby up and see how smooth that engine sounds. Right, let's take it on a short spin and see if we get any management lights, and then sort out whatever needs to be sorted out. Right, finally on the road. Can't go on the main road because we've got no disc, no number plate, so we're just gonna test it here. The car does sound a little deep. I think that's because our airbox might have a crack. Okay, let's see. You felt like had a It had also like a small miss.
Misfire. You can hear it.
But maybe it's not because of the fuel.
It's too low.
It's too low.
Flat spoil.
Huh?
Good flat spoil.
Now it's got a misfire.
Point peg.
Point peg.
Point peg.
Alright, so got a little bit of a misfire. We're just going to plug it on the machine, see which coil pack is faulty or whatever, because we got an EPC light now. We're gonna test it and see.
On the diagnostics machine, we discovered that it actually has a cam actuator fault. The camshaft actuator is an electronically controlled solenoid that regulates oil flow to the cam phaser, allowing the camshaft to advance or retard its timing. It could actually be a faulty camshaft actuator or solenoid, or maybe just a wiring problem. So the first step to our diagnostics to trying to repair this issue was to actually inspect the wiring harness. And we found that 2 wires were actually short circuiting. In order for us to resolve that issue, we just have to simply insulate the wires and hope everything will be fine. Next, let's fix the misfire. And according to our diagnostics machine, it says that the misfire is coming from cylinder number 4.
Right, so it looks like we got a misfire on cylinder number 4. Just gonna check what's the story. Could be a number of things. Faulty injectors, faulty coil packs, faulty spark plugs. Let's take it out and see. Let's see. How is it looking? See here? The spark is coming out from here. We need to get either another rubber or another coil pack. See here? No. It looks like we're getting spark coming out of this crack on this coil pack, because you can actually see a little bit of ash. So there's a little bit of spark that's coming out from here. So normally if you just put insulation tape, you can resolve that issue, but I'm looking for a permanent solution, not a temporary one. This car is going to be driven all the way to Durban. I don't want any calls, Baba.
So we replaced the coil pack, and now we're going to take it on another test drive.
Coil pack has been changed, and we also fixed some wiring on cylinder 1. So let's take it on a drive and see if it goes to limp mode again, and if we do get a EPC light again. Moving now, performing. You felt the boost. Yeah. So we got boost, we got everything. No EPC, but of course we need the number plate so we can take it on a long drive. But for now, it looks like we've sorted it out.
So all that's left right now is just the windscreen. But at least the car drives like new again. It's actually unbelievable the condition that we got this car in.
And just like that, this marks the end of this YouTube video. Big progress on our front smashed GTI. Couple of things left, which is the front lower lip, as well as our VW badge in the front, and the GTI badge, as well as the front windscreen. So right now we did send the car, no EPC light, no engine light. The only thing that's left is actually a much longer test drive, but we can't even put this car on the main road before we even get the windscreen replaced. So with that being said, this marks the end of this video. Sure, we got so much done. Tango.
Before I wrap up this episode, don't forget about the Gold 7R giveaway. Entries close on the 12th of December or as soon as the tickets are sold out.
And you can also stand a chance to win this Golf 7R for only 100 Rand. The main reason why we are actually giving away this Golf 7R, it is to raise funds for a non-profit organization that we started, which is called Helping Mzansi People Out, which focuses on school outreach programs to teach about careers that are available in the automotive industry, as well as helping people who can't afford vehicle repairs by themselves.
A few years ago, I started an initiative on my TikTok called Helping Mzansi People Out.
Welcome to episode 1 of Helping Mzansi People Out.
The goal of this initiative was to help people with car repairs if they could not afford to do them themselves. We managed to help people get back on the road, such as this lady who had been a victim of foul play from a dealership that she had trusted and bought a vehicle from. Hearing this young lady's story really touched our hearts, and we helped her free of charge, and the repairs for her vehicle costed over 20,000 Rand. And today I would like to gladly bring this initiative back.
Helping Mzansi People Out also provides resources for underprivileged schools. This is all possible because of you. In September alone, we managed to travel 3 schools in rural KZN, which include Mbalane Primary School, Sangweni Primary School, and Busana High School. Our main objective was to educate students about careers in the automotive industry and to see how we can assist in technology studies and physical sciences.
This month, Helping Mzansi visited Hlaisekani Stimulation Center in Limpopo, Tzaneen, to sponsor a fun day for the disabled youth, and it was a major success. So all your donations help us on our mission to educate the youth on careers that are available in the automotive industry. And we are also able to provide aid to schools that need it the most.
Since you've made it this far into the video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also make sure to hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next upload. And that's actually going to be very soon. And remember, don't hate, congratulate.